I've been holding off on doing this for a long time, but now I present my full review of Alita Battle Angel. Based on Yukito Kishiro's groundbreaking source material, this movie may not be a total disaster like I was worried about it being, but it's also not the masterpiece many others have held it up as, so let's open it up. Open in the year 2563, about 300 years after an event known as The Fall. Dr. Dyson Ito, played by Academy Award-winner Christoph Waltz, searches through some ruins and discovers the entire head and brain of the discarded android. One side note before I continue. It seems like 20th Century Fox logo turns into one by 26th Century Fox at the start. They're really trying to predict the future. They could just put a pair of Mickey Mouse ears on it. Ito then takes the head and brain to his lab, which specializes in cybernetic enhancements. He's replacing a new body who's thereby dubbed Alita, played by Rosa Salazar. Also get this out of the way about the eyes. Even with the visual effects being redesigned, there's just something very off to me about the CGI androids in this movie. The android parts look alright, but the human parts are the straddle the uncanny valley for me. Alita likens dress and outfit that's left for her, and the scenes of scene when she eats an orange with a peaceful honor view of Ito's assistant nurse Gerhard, played by Adara Victor, before Ito shows her how to do it correctly. Neglecting how this scene and Gerhard were in the source, and Fat is basically only Ito and the occasional helper on hand, this movie has essentially the same finished in AI. This won't be the only time that comes up in this review either, especially given the people involved in this one. He then runs out of Ito's lab, which is all of the same Iron City. This practical set was built with a combined efforts of New Zealand's Weta Workshop and Robert Rodriguez's Troublemaker Studios. Actually, one of the most visually interesting things about the movie, even varying degrees of cybernetic enhancements. One of them is a street performer playing double guitar with robotic arms by Ipothium. I'm about to tell you actually more to see more about him. Then, roughly 10 minutes in, when Alita meets a dog by taco truck, which will apparently be around the 26th century, she takes a fighting stance against a walking title centurion, not uncommon I admit. She discovers she apparently has knowledge of lost martial art known as Panzerkunst, literally armored art in German. No, the film never explains that, not even the later scene with Ito. Especially strange as Christoph Waltz is German. This also draws the attention of a young man named Hugo, played by Keon Johnson, and ends up getting caught in his dealings. Another character she comes across is Dr. Sharan, played by the lovely as always Jennifer Connelly, who apparently used to be married to Ito, and later is a body member of their late daughter. I will just further when the time comes, but for now, I should point out as others have that the kid didn't even exist in the original manga. Ito and Sharan weren't even married at all, they were just colleagues, but heaven forbid a relationship with dystopia and YA sci-fi from be purely professional. As Ito and Sharan talk nearby, their daughter's death is apparently not the only reason why they're separated. With the different ideas of how they wanted to use their knowledge of machines was the primary reason for the manga, the next gen of the OVA, which adapted first 200 published at the time, that Ito chose to have the less fortunate Iron City, and Sharan continued her work in the City of Zolom. One minor change I provide just some major ones. On manga and the OVA, Sharan crushes a cigarette on an insect. She just does it with a hand in the movie, she doesn't smoke here. As an aside, Jennifer, seeing Connelly and Satan Space was just watching Dark City again instead. Sharan then goes back to her husband, and more so her boss, Vector, played by Academy Award winner Mahershala Ali. I'll address how the movie alters characters as I go on, but also if now the actor understands at least what kind of movie he's in. This points an example of that. He's a much more complex character in the manga, but it's a common source of action when the actor is given the script they deem beneath them. Then, at the 17-minute mark, we get a notable change from the manga. The film places much great emphasis upon a motorball, sort of mixture of roller derby and rugby. While some don't mind this, I actually feel that actually want to hinder the story rather than help it. The film adapts the first 4 of the 9 volumes of the manga, and shows how I'm once again trying to focus on hundreds of pages of material in a single 123-minute film. It also doesn't help that it's giving flashbacks of the Maze Runner, a book I'm not a fan of at all. There's an introduction to Hugo's colleague Tanja by George Lunderbourg Jr. and Koyama with Alana Condor. The latter one didn't appear in the manga until way later, so that's another example of me trying to separate before the first one's even out. More on that later, since this wonderful scrimmage actually starts out with Alita falling out back just before she gets to get the hang of it. This will become fairly ridiculous later, but since the movie tries to play straight rather than go on the material. Instead, the movie tries to play realistically, even though they've already gone full wide the coyote just 17 minutes in. After that, we get this scene where Alita and Hugo are supposedly falling in love, even though there isn't really a whole lot of chemistry between two actors at all. Also, once again, Heaven forbid we have a relationship in white dystopian sci-fi film that's merely platonic. They weren't dating in the manga OVA, they were just good friends. Especially a problematic denouement. We'll get to that when time comes. The movie also significantly alters many characters' justification being bounty hunters or hunter warriors. Some of this is probably due to how differently Japan and the US view bounty hunters, but mostly it's purely created license. When the source material basically portrays them as peacekeepers doing what they can survive, so no police or guns in Iron City, here they're much more morally ambiguous. Not a bad idea, but it's more about uneven execution. Case in point. Whereas a pamphlet that adds scrying seems to be playing straight, the Yukito movie Dibble isn't that different than the original. Here's justification slightly changed, Rocket Harry be damned. On that, now we get the fight in the alley with Romo, played by Derek Mears, and Luciana, played by Isa Gonzalez, both Angelina Grishka, played by Jackie O'Haley. I guess that's how the movie's romancing character Kusika, I guess. The action scene is alright, but it's actually about how I have mixed feelings towards the movie doing scene except for live action manga and anime adaptations. Don't get me wrong, it's clear that every bit of the movie's 130 million on the screen, I never really got into seeing what others did. Even as a meta-fan of original source, I thought the film focused way too much on the action and enough on the story and characters. It's an alright film, but the question of the characters never felt well natural. Script apparently had drafts ranging 200 pages before it's trimmed down, and it shows. His flashback scenes with Alita fighting alongside her mentor Gilda, played by uncredited Michelle Rodriguez, would actually make a more interesting movie than one he actually ended up getting, to be blunt. Back in Ito's lab, we get the movie's origin of Alita's namesake. The name and android body allegedly belonged to Ito's late daughter, played by Emma Lindsay, but a pair of police that was kidnapped and killed by a jacked, motorboat player named Amal, played by Casper Van Dien. Those are the movie's words, not mine. Obviously, I'm not really a fan of this kind of subtext. This whole plot line didn't exist in the original. The name actually came from Ito's cat. As mentioned before, the girl didn't exist in the original, and Ito never even married. I am not against making changes for an adaptation, but changes of this nature don't make a whole lot of sense to me. Later on, one of many notable scenes in the movie, we see the reigning champion, Josh Ugon, played by uncredited Jai Courtney, conveying fewer emotions than in Genesis. He was supposed to Alita, the final champion, goes to Zolom. To be honest, there's none of it in this plot to make a whole movie of its own, or even a TV series. Trying to wedge in this movie did not do the pacing any favors at all. It's like cramming the appendice in Lord of the Rings into the Prancing Pony scene. I mean, honestly, right after this, another player ends up getting gutted for parts in the streets, or supposed to be after Gurisha's upgrades. While Hugo's wrong is also changed with the intent making it seem more ambiguous, I feel my wrong gives the opposite effect, makes the character less complex because of the execution. Yet the dynamic with him and his associate Tanji isn't that different, and ends up making less sense because of how there's so much dynamic to develop here. That's a major problem I have with this movie. There's so much padding every scene, spending time for the viewer to read and realize the impact of what's shown before the next one. While the visuals are good, at least purely surface level, there's not much subtle nuances from the other stories that help me make it so memorable to me. It's not the thing this characters are bad, the story totally disregards one of the source. It's found everything kind of dull. It's easy for me to write about an adaptation that's great or terrible. It's about when it's okay. Admittedly, part of me also has mixed feelings about the movie because Cameron and Rodriguez are filmmakers I find fascinating and are clearly passionate about the project. Then, in about 40 minutes in or so, we see Alita, Hugo, Tanji, and Koyomi go find fresh worship on the fall, and Alita is the only one who agrees to control deck, which is underwater. How convenient, as is how she can work controls unlock a new berserker android body, so how she knows how to do this, not who she is. Hold that thought for now. Alita brings the body back to Ito's lab, and after a very strange argument, Alita decides she wants to become a hunter warrior. I do at least get the filmmakers clever and clean robotic head from the source, and they will commitment to trying to include much iconography of the manga movies by their own mission. However, in the adaptation, we already made so many change story characters already. Why leave that in? If that's the kind of thing you leave in, why not just save the motorball stuff for later and have her decide to be Hunter Warrior earlier in the movie? That's my main issue with the pacing. There's so much going on in this material of several movies, or even a TV series just this one, so it feels kind of rushed and often underdeveloped. I digress. After meeting up with Hugo and the dog from earlier, Alita goes to the local tavern known as Cans for Information. You know, one of my associates named Jen Gizrio compares me to the first Dog Superman's to a story structure. However, while that film had at least some semblance of how clever discovering his powers and stakes to be a central story, the scene of Alita costing some of the other androids for leads about the people going missing, getting killed, just feels kind of awkward to me. I can tell people involved with filming this understood the appeal from the source, but don't really understand why hard to make work on film and appeal to others. Even characters like Matique, played Jeff Fahey, or Master Clevy player Rick Une, feel like glorified set dressings to me. Even the forms robotic dogs in Lives 207 confirmed kills, bears repeating that introducing a character or concept is not the same as establishing them. Sure, telegraphing Japan's weapon that amasses to play very hard, but it's really less of the character he was in the manga and more of a cartoon from the Edgar Lampoon and Deadpool as mentioned before. Seriously, this whole bit of Alita talking to a pair of butterflies is about what's happening just feels so strange, a key reason why I don't think of really fully CGI human characters just yet. On top of this, Will Salas' performance comes less like this generation's Sarah Connor, Aaron Ripley, or even Neytiri, more the B-realized miserable movies I don't really care for. This leaves a Barbell, which I guess alright, but I admit this is the vast difference between watching this film, which we spent $170 million, and watching the $7,000 directorial debut with El Mariachi. And actually, that film had this coarse, unrefined, and raw energy to it that made it so impressive that it was such an entertaining film with some odds about you can imagine. Here, feels like I walked down someone playing while my old PS2 game misplaced my controller. Ito enters the bar and Kush comes in with his upgrades. Though I admit killing the dog is an easy way to get viewers against a villain, and everything when John Wick shows up as our adventure, but follows just something I could never understand the appeal of. He then proceeds to use a dog blood as makeup / war paint, so much inclusive of emotion I could see, declaring, will not stand by in the presence of evil. No disrespect intended, but did anyone actually read this out loud before it was filmed, edited, including the final product? Regrettably, as Grisha crashed through the floor, that's not the only clunky dog either. We're barely halfway through this, folks. As Alita follows Grishka to the next action set piece, Grishka taunts her by saying, "Welcome to the underworld, my world. Here there are worlds upon worlds upon worlds. It's where I used to live." On top of being a big case for why you have script doctors, I guess that deadline came from the Department of Redundancy Department. To be fair, the ensuing action scene is competent. It's clear that even the story and character hurdles have a way to go. It's a significant step forward on a purely technical level. Film took 2 editors, as well as a clean cinematography both pro because it's on screen. So the fight does get busy, especially in a cut with another flashback while Elliot Spartan Gilda. So Blaze Fast and Nova by Edward Norton and appears, who thankfully doesn't have any awkward, vaguely white lines to spout. We'll address this later, but to me at least, it would be like you had a came from Thanos to halfway the first Iron Man. Alita's body is torn by the Mariska's grind cutters. Latter asks if she wants to pay for emergency. She responds to breaking off her arm into her sky and then fighting a line, "Fuck your mercy." Well, there's a piece of your team, folks. Hope all the teams saw us enjoy that. Personally, I'd be more interested if it was R-rated and close to the original story. Anyway, Gruishka slips away licking his wounds to Vector and Shiren. As Alita's first body has been destroyed, Ito decides to integrate her with the Berserker body. Many have criticized the innuendo of the sequence, as Smith actually left suggested in the original because of the piece of routine. The body doesn't show her naughty bits. Especially out there while she doesn't smoke, she has a light anytime she wants one. Elsewhere, Gruishka's getting more repairs done, and he wants to have the scars left alone as reminders. I mean, Watchmen, 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street, now this movie. What is it about Jackie L. Haley has his face messed up? So as Alita ventures off into Iron City and recruits with Hugo, even as he admires her new body, there's something very off-putting about this casting. If they developed their relationship more, maybe I feel differently, as it stains a little chemistry between them that not even Walter White could find it. The whole subplot artificial hearts are pretty ridiculous as its payoff. I dealt with a lot more stop doing stuff like this too much. Well, it's not the worst David Smallkin I've talked about. The honest trailer puts like something referred to as a Harlem MacGuffin. Now, we get the much ballyhoo fire motorball sequence where Alita takes part in her first qualifying match, taking the number 99. You know, probably would have liked to have seen her actually learn her skills and master them. Instead, this story is just tossed at you with a little over 30 minutes left. In the adjoining locker rooms, Vector offers the other competitors $500,000 to kill the girl called Alita. I once again point out while Vector wasn't just some motorball fixer / gangster in the source, that Ali at least understands what kind of movie he signed up for and makes most of what he's given. So he's also going to be in this reboot of Blade. I used to know the sunglasses Black Afro will be ideal to take what's his next mantle. Just given the Daywalker Blades and I'm sold. Right before the match, Hugo is caught up with Tanji on top of being set up with killing the Emperor of Japan. Japan then stabs Hugo in the shoulder and cuts Tanji in half. While it sounds brutal to be honest, the lack of an impact on me as a viewer has less to do with being sensitized and more to do with how the movie is trying to cram hundreds of pages of story into just a single 120-minute film's last half hour. It just feels so underdeveloped and underwhelming, especially given how much I like the source. As I said, the motorball subplot and the movie doesn't include a really enjoyable story. While it's admittedly an impressive sport, which the blank probably features Alita learning under a coach that couldn't play one because of injury he suffered. He wanted to pass one new before he died, which he did before the was resolved. The story ultimately makes a support critique of utility and committed violence. The movie naturally features none of this, while it does feature something been an existing talking about for a very long time. I will say that, as with the majority of the film's sets, the motorball arena itself is actually particularly from a technical point of view. They'll feature two production designers that worked with Rodriguez before, so despite what I'm about to say, it's clear that quite a bit of work was invested in making things look good on screen. That now, when Vector picks up a drink while Leah takes a stage, it's clear to me that Mahershala Ali was probably the best actor in this movie. He has a way of making a buffet of the scenery that I feel like is completely missing from the other cast members. He might have the same characteristics in the manga, but he's the only actor I honestly understood what he sounded for completely. As Alita joins a gaggle of androids, look like they got lost in their way to the flesh room AI, Ito realizes that Cooper Hunter was sent to put a hit on Alita. He wants her over the phone somehow, but Alita has to go through with the qualifying run anyway. It's actually the least ridiculous thing about the sequence. The ball is launched, and the qualifying round begins. I once again remind you how when she started, the Alita could barely work the throttle falling on her back. Now, she's rolling around, smashing the other androids like she's the offspring of Terminator by Wotano. Honestly, it has all the cohesion of some kid smashing all the extras in a toy box together. The extras cost $170 million. Whereas, again, it would have been nice to have seen her learning how to do this, but instead just dumped on your lap with 30 minutes left. So, rather than being impressed by spectacle on display, this just goes back to the two major questions I kept asking myself, even right now. When the visuals were over the top, I asked, why make the whole movie animated? When they looked realistic, I asked, why not use making practical special effects while they in the androids? Given how these questions were never answered in any definitive manner, I didn't go to the movie. They bet $10 on me, and they lost. Honest. I will say the music and sequence is good, as it is with most of the movie. Tom Junkie XL Hulkenborg definitely did a good job with combining orchestral music and modern electronic sounds, and the motorball cue is probably the best example of that. Alita then gets a call from Hugo about Tanji's death. I'm not surprised how Hugo outruns a pan being stabbed so as to make an old cathedral without bleeding out. Alita then crashes with the Jumbotron of the stadium and leads the Anders at chase. She goes to get to Hugo before his hand, with the would-be assassins getting killed one by one. It's basically the cliff notes of that scene. I could barely tell what was going on watching this on my iPad. There's no way I would be able to make heads or tails in this in theaters. Alita then makes it to a church before Zapan does, but Zapan's got more than Hugo starts and turns around the building. And that's supposed to be a dramatic scene, but it's hard to get invested when the time's basically turned 180 degrees from the source material. It doesn't have to be a one-to-one conversion, but all I can see is a couple edges of mocap suits. It makes what about the characters and the coherent script much more vital. Now, as Chiren realizes what Vector has wrought, we get the payoff of Alita's heart. She will trick the Centurions and thinks as he's finished off Hugo, so she can claim the price on his head. Zapan realizes what's happened, but it's too late. As by factory law, she can defend her catch, which she does by cutting off Zapan's face with his own Damascus blade. Not exactly Nicolas Cage or John Travolta, but it works fine. Telegraphed is all get out, but whatever helps end this is okay with me at this point. Hugo is given a makeshift antibody to keep him alive, which leads to the staging assault on Vector. That Dana was about to be closed out the mission of the OVA, which no doing I'll never be addressed. Alita confronts Vector in his office, crashing the skylight. Wants to make short work with the Centurions when the body him I mentioned before, so one last fight with Rishka to go. She hit the whip with his grind cutters. We get one last flashback her and Gilda during the fall, with the mission being go after and destroy Zalem and its leader, Nova. It would actually be a more interesting movie than one that I'm talking about. I will just my final thoughts. So, Alita's wound heals the most little plot armor I've seen in a while. Jolly cuts off Rishka's grind cutters, she cuts him in half out like Kung Lao. Alita wins. Fatality. Alita then accosts Vector, who is really been under control of Nova all along. Which with the Damascus blade, as he lays down on the floor of his office, he chastises him and those who seek to underestimate her. They are telegraphing this sequel hook so hard. I will be addressing this in my final thoughts. So, We get the whole sequence of Hugo trying to climb the Zombieland before he's caught up by defenses. Alita tries to save him and fails. I do give the filmmakers credit for trying to recreate the scene with purely surface level at least. It just doesn't have the same impact as it did in the source, none in the previous versions of various movies that Cameron and Reyes worked on. The film closed a months apparently having passed while Leah continues to motorball her new android body with purpose, and cutting a tear in half. She rolls into the arena, raising the mask blade towards Zolom, forming the close on Nova, who takes off his goggles and smokes her possibly meeting Alita. The after something comes to this, say hi to Piccolo, Azula, Sinestro, and Ryuk for me, Edward. So, it's both an adaptation and a movie on its own. Alita Battle Angel may not be a complete disaster like I was worried, but this was not something I would feel like watching over and over again. I was never really on board with the hype train for this movie, and I'm still baffled why one exists to begin with. I always thought it looked average, and now I've finally seen and written about it, I consider it to be average. Now I'll let it sit for a while. I'll probably give it like a 2 out of 4, a 2.5 out of 4 at the most. Not great, but thankfully not terrible either. If you were asking me about any potential sequels happening, my reply would be, I don't know. Even with people involved in knowledge of risk with this kind of setup, but Kim specifically citing Warcraft as an example. Sure enough, despite opening number 1, down on a similar boat. Made over $400 million worldwide, but less than $100 million in North America, $85 million domestically, and $404 million worldwide and $170 million budget. This had quite a bit of competition time to follow, and some movies would not be mentioned here, also time to hijack movie their own gain. If I'm being totally honest, while not affect or help matters, this will highly unlikely to have changed anything. On the weekend of February 14th, the movie ended up being the lowest grossing property on state weekend in 15 years. However, even with this movie more or less failing to save anime movies, I think it's okay you can experiment even if not experiment works. And once again point out, even movies about American comic books had to go through years, not decades of terrible adaptations to get to being consistently good. Regardless of whether or not you enjoy the movie or anticipating post-sequels, I strongly recommend you check out the original manga OVAs as soon as you can. Later.